Welcome, everyone. Yes, I know we're all excited to be here today, standing room only. That's the way we want it. I've been really excited about this workshop. This is something that I'm really passionate about and excited about because I want to live as long and healthy as possible. I mean, who doesn't, right? That's what today is really all about. It's not just about some information or some quick fix fads. It's really about a lifestyle and habits that every single one of you, no matter whether you're just starting out on your health journey or you've been doing this for a long time and you're already really advanced when it comes to your health, this is going to help you. And these are the habits that the people that live the longest use in their lives on a regular basis. And we have access to even more things that some people don't even use that I'll show you how to do today. So you're going to walk out of here with actually an action plan of what to do. So it's not just information. It's here's what we do step by step. And you're going to be able to make commitments today to your health. That's going to change not just your life, but your family's life. And the cool part is even future generations. Sound exciting? Yes. Yes. Glad we're here today. So the real definition of doctor is teacher. And I find a lot of people really just don't understand how their body works, how health works. Nowadays, you go to the doctor and you get maybe a diagnosis, you get a pill, that's about it. Most people learn most of their health information based upon what they see on TV, what they read online, a video they watch, what their aunt or uncle tells them. And many of that is not true. It's false. It's not going to help you get to where you want to go. So we've been studying natural health for the last 15 plus years to really understand how the human body works, how to optimize performance, how to get natural drug-free solutions through what's called vitalism, right? Taking care of you as a whole person versus treating the individual parts. That's what we're going to talk about here today. We're not going to prescribe any medications. We're not going to give you any injections. There's no surgeries involved. You don't have to go to another country or another place to do the things that we're doing. You can do this right now, today, in your daily life. And that's the reason our office exists. Our mission, our purpose is to empower you to take control of your health and guide you through that process so you're more successful, so that you become the hero of your health journey. Not some doctor, not some other thing, but you. And that's the key, because at the end of the day, who makes the decisions? You. Who's going to take the action steps? You. Who's going to be consistent? It's got to be you. If you're expecting that motivation or inspiration to come from outside, you're not going to be successful long term. The people that are successful in anything are the ones who do the things day in, day out consistently, whether you want to or not, whether it's convenient or not, whether it's easy or not. And I can tell you, after going through this and studying for many, many years, that's really the secret to longevity. Consistency. Just keep doing the stuff. You don't feel like working out today? Do it anyway. You don't feel like making a healthy meal? Do it anyway. You don't feel like taking your supplements today, coming into the chiropractic office, doing that cold plunge? Do it anyway. And when you do it anyway, you'll be successful. That's the secret. We can go home now. That's really it. Right, if you just consistently do it, and it's the guidance, and it's the accountability, and it's the community, and it's everything else that keeps you on track with that. And that's really why we formed our office, and that's why we do what we do every day here. So when we look at longevity, we live in a time where people are living longer than ever, but the quality of that life is worse than ever. Here in America, on average, the last 15 to 20 years of life is chronic disease. So you're living longer, but what is that life like if you're taking multiple medications, you can't do the things that you want to do, you're living in a nursing home where someone's taking care of you, you're in chronic pain, you have heart disease, you have diabetes, you have Alzheimer's, you have dementia, you have all these other things. 5 out of 6 Americans, this is why they're dying, and this is the reality of where we are right now. So living longer doesn't necessarily mean living better. So that's what we want to talk about, is how do we actually live better and achieve what real longevity is, so you can be 70, 80, 90, 100 years old and still be able to do the things you want to do activities, be independent, take care of yourself, right? That's really the key. Who wants that quality of life? Yes, right? You're in the right place. When it comes down to it, science-wise, it's all about your cells. Each and every one of us, we're all made up of cells, trillions and trillions of cells. And the way aging works is those cells, every few months, they turn over. One cell dies, a new cell comes. That's the process of aging. Now, within your cells is your DNA. DNA is the building blocks of your cells. It's like the blueprint for your body. And that's your basic genetic makeup. Now, this genetic makeup, we know, can be highly modified and affected by your lifestyle, the things you do on a regular basis. When you have a healthy lifestyle, your cells churn over slowly. You have good cellular energy, regeneration, self-healing, everything the way that we're designed. When you have a stressful lifestyle, which we're going to talk about today, it creates what's called oxidative stress. Has anybody heard of this before? Yes. Oxidative stress is like rust on your cells. And the telomeres, which is the ends of your cellular DNA, what happens is they start to shorten. When those telomeres shorten, think of it like a cap, like a shoelace on the end. When it starts to wear down and it starts to fray, your cells, they start aging more rapidly. This is now your skin doesn't look as good, your joints don't feel as good, you don't have as much energy, your systems aren't as healthy, things become harder and harder. There's a natural aging, but we don't want accelerated aging. Who's ever felt like they're older than they actually are? I hear that all the time. Someone's coming in, they're 20, 30 years old. I feel like I'm 60. I feel like I'm 90. I can't even do this or that. That's advanced cellular aging. You don't want that. We're going to talk about this a lot today, or what are the things that shorten or lengthen these telomeres. And through research that they've done, they now know that even if you have accelerated aging, you can stop and even reverse that by the choices you make every single day. Isn't that cool? Yes. Yeah. So how would you like to change your genetic makeup, change the expression of your life, change your destiny, and change your cellular health? That's really the key. So things we talk about is how do we improve the health of our cells and our basic genetic makeup? One of the things that really affects aging is inflammation. Most chronic diseases are affected by inflammation. Heart disease, Alzheimer's, dementia, all inflammation. In fact, inflammatory markers are a better marker for disease like C-reactive protein than high blood pressure or high cholesterol or high blood sugar, because it's actually measuring inflammation in your body. And when you understand where the inflammation is coming from, you're actually affecting the root cause of chronic disease and advanced cellular aging. So inflammation isn't just pain. Inflammation can affect every single system, from your brain to your cells to your tissues. Everything is affected by inflammation. And you only feel 10% of that, which is the important part to understand. 90% of the effects of inflammation and stress are under the surface that you don't feel, that later shows up as dysfunction and dis-ease. So don't just think, if I feel okay, I must be doing fine. That's not it. If you don't have a specific plan, if you're not measuring these things, you really don't know where you are and you're going blind. Another big issue is stress. Has anybody experienced stress today? Last week, on the way here, rushing, getting everything done, sitting in traffic. Our lives are stressful. They're stressful. And when your body's under stress, whether it's perceived stress or real stress, you release certain chemicals. One of the most detrimental chemicals is cortisol. So cortisol is the stress hormone. When you're in, again, real or perceived stress, your body releases this cortisol, which is good for a short period of time to help you with whatever that situation or stress is. But long-term cortisol is very bad for your body and affects all kinds of issues. One of the big concerns is it increases inflammation and cause cellular damage. That's oxidative stress. It actually can break down and degenerate your brain, and it mimics other types of stress in your body. You can have physical issues from emotional or mental stress. You can have chemical issues from emotional or mental stress. And when you compound these stresses over time, like our modern lifestyle, chronically stressed, you're actually speeding up that cellular aging. So we're going to talk today about some healthy habits to mitigate and reduce stress and help your body better adapt to what's going on around you. Another issue is toxicity. We live in a very toxic age now, from medications and vaccines to genetically modified foods, herbicides and pesticides, the stuff they put in our water, the stuff they put on our clothes, the cleaning products we use, personal care products. It's everywhere. Toxicity is a big problem. And those toxins, they get stored up in your cells, and your cells start to fill up with this toxic burden. And then it pours over into your body, and other organs and systems start being affected too. So toxicity and the bioaccumulation of the different types of toxins damages your cells. It disrupts your hormones. It weakens your immune system, and it lowers your adaptability to what's going on. And if your body can't adapt to stress, what happens? It starts breaking down, and eventually you do die. Premature death caused by accelerated aging and chronic disease. This is why that's happening. Another key aspect is your gut. Your gut is like your second brain, your microbiome. It's where many of your hormones come from. It's a big part of your immune system. It's how you digest and absorb nutrients and process toxins. Because of all the stresses, mentally, physically, chemically, all our unhealthy food, everything going on, the gut-brain axis is being affected. And when that happens, it starts to degenerate your brain. It affects your adaptability to stress. Your mitochondria start being affected. Your cells start aging faster. You get leaky gut issues. You get inflammatory responses. So the gut is really important. You got to be paying attention to the health of your gut. And I'm going to show you today all the ways that our modern lifestyle is breaking down these areas, breaking down your gut, stressing your brain, chemical toxicity, physical stress, oxidative stress, all of that. And then what do you do to get your body working better? And here's the biggest issue. When you have accumulated stress, symptoms and disease show up, where do people go? They go to their doctor. What is your doctor going to give you? More stress. Diagnosis, you're dying. This is your family history. There's nothing you can do about it. You got to take this drug for the rest of your life. Plus this one too. And that's it. Is that going to get you healthy? Absolutely not. It doesn't work. At best, symptom suppression, disease management. Who wants to just manage disease? All right, people come and they go to pain management. Who just wants to manage their pain with a bunch of medications and a bunch of injections all the time? Nothing in your life you want to just manage. There's no root cause solutions happening here. Drugs, shots, surgery. That is not the answer to longevity. In fact, that's the answer to accelerated aging and exactly what we talked about at the beginning. Maybe you stay alive a little bit longer, but what's your quality of life? Yep, we've all been there. I've had family members who were dying of dementia or heart disease or cancer. What does that life look like? It's not living. It's not. And nobody wants to be there. Nobody. But that's the reality, unfortunately. And if you don't start doing something differently in your life right now, that could be your reality. Or it's the reality of a loved one or someone that you care about, right? We don't want this. The answer isn't going to come from the next miracle drug. There's not going to be some new thing that like reverses aging out of nowhere. They're not going to dig something up out of the ground and be like, we found the fountain of youth. You don't got to try anymore. Everyone's looking for that quick fix. What can I take? What can I do? There is no magic pill, for sure. There's stuff that's really good. There are things that I use out there. There's biohacks, there's peptides, there's things that definitely exist. And you should use those and I can help you with that. But it's not going to fix everything. It doesn't take the place of a healthy lifestyle. Here's the good news though. Your body's designed to be healthy. That's what's normal. Healthy is normal. We got to stop accepting aging and disease and breakdown and pain as normal. I hear that all the time. Oh, I just got blood pressure. That's normal. I'm just getting old. Oh, my family's got cancer. It's coming for me, right? That's what I expect. Oh, my back just hurts. I can't do this. That's what I expect. I'm getting old. That's normal. That is not normal.
No, it's not.
Pain is not normal. Dysfunction is not normal. Disease is not normal. Whether you're 10 or 100, it's not normal. Every single time it's an unhealthy, abnormal process happening in your body. That's so key to understand because if you accept this is normal, I'm sick and dysfunction, and that's your reality, you're not going to do the things you need to do to get better, right? When you accept that complacency, you stop trying and everything goes downhill.
That's right.
So what if you had the right guidance? What if you had the right resources to actually be healthy, to find natural drug-free solutions and have a pathway to get better? Does that sound like a more empowering lifestyle? Yeah, that's the max living lifestyle. That's what we talk about here, 5 essentials. There's 5 key essentials to living a life of longevity. We're going to talk about each one of these essentials here today, and how you can start using them in your life. Sound good?
Yes.
All right. Essential number 1, chiropractic care. So this is so huge. I want you guys to turn to this page right here. It says effects of spinal misalignments. This is something that you probably never got taught in your entire life. Chiropractic is not neck or back pain treatment. It's not cracking the bones of your spine. It's not where you go when you get in a car accident or hurt your back at work. We help with those things for sure. But chiropractic was founded on the principle of self-healing. It was a holistic, vitalistic principle of removing interference to allowing the brain and nervous system to do what it's designed to do, heal, repair, and regenerate the body. That's why chiropractic was founded. Someone didn't walk in one day and said, my back hurt, and someone cracked their back and like, oh, this feels better, and the profession was started. That's not actually how it worked. The first chiropractor was a healer. He was a natural healer, and he found chiropractic kind of by accident, and then it was developed over time by B.J. Palmer, his son, who really created the philosophy and the principles of what chiropractic is today. And then over time, it became a bit more mechanistic to where it became more about back pain. As soon as it got accepted on insurance and you could start billing it, the chiropractic philosophy and principle went downhill. Now, there's still enough chiropractors who understand and believe this vitalistic model, but most don't. In fact, about 80 to 90% of chiropractors you're going to go to are back pain doctors, and they're not doing any of the stuff we're talking about here today, right? So not all chiropractors even are created equal. Super important to understand. And this is the missing piece in most people's health journey. It's the nervous system. This is the master control system that regulates every single cell, tissue, and organ in your body. It runs the whole show. It controls inflammation. It controls hormones. It controls how you heal and how you detox and how you absorb nutrients. It's how your body adapts to stress. It's the nervous system. So vital. The most important system in your body. Now, chiropractic is based on the foundation of the subluxation. Subluxation at its most simple form is a misalignment in your spine. So you have 24 segments of the spine. You'll see here, right? 1C all the way down to the sacrum coccyx. That's your entire spine, 24 movable segments. Some people have more or less, but on average, 24 is what we're looking at here. Now, if any one of these bones in your spine shift out of their normal alignment and get stuck in that position, it creates an altered communication between your brain and your body. This is subluxation. Subluxation is not something that just goes away on its own. It's not something that you stretch or exercise away or you take a pill for. It's something only the specific chiropractic adjustment corrects. And that's what we measure when you come in. That's what we measure every single time you do an evaluation. We're measuring subluxation and its effects on your body. Now, subluxations also have a chemical and neurological and physical effect on your body. So when you have a subluxation, it creates a stress response in your body, a sympathetic response. And your body releases certain types of chemicals like C-reactive protein, TNF-alpha. So these here are stress chemicals and hormones in your body that are being affected by the subluxation that you usually don't feel. You don't feel. Remember we said 90% of what goes on you don't feel? This is happening under the surface. This subluxation creates an interference in how your brain communicates to your body and how your body adapts to the environment around you. So that over time creates inflammation. It creates stress, it creates disease. When you get adjusted, a specific chiropractic adjustment, not to manipulate your spine. Anybody can manipulate your spine. You could pull on your neck, you could do this thing, and you hear your spine crack. That is not an adjustment. That is not correcting subluxation. That's just a simple manipulation. A massage therapist can do this, a PT can do this, you can do this. You can walk on your husband's back today and it'll crack. That's not an adjustment. That's not correcting subluxation. It may feel good, but it's not doing anything. It's the specific adjustment that really reduces the subluxation and restores that brain-body connection. And when done correctly, consistently over time, you're changing your nervous system adaptation. You're changing your neurology. And here's the key thing to understand is chiropractors are the only doctors specifically trained on how to detect and correct subluxation. Your medical doctor, they don't know anything about this. Your neurosurgeon, your orthopedic doctor, they don't know anything about this. They know how to fix damage. If you break your neck or sever your spinal cord, they know what to do. They're good at that. but they're not good at taking care of your spine. So I hear people come in all the time, well, my doctor says I shouldn't do this. Your doctor doesn't know. Right. Your doctor has no study, no research, nowhere in their curriculum are they learning about this stuff. They have no tools whatsoever to fix and correct your spine. All they have is drugs, shots, surgeries. That's it. So when your doctor says don't get adjusted, you should ask, why? What is that based upon? What's your specific training or recommendations based upon this? Well, I don't know. There is no specific answer. They don't have a good answer for you. So the only person you should be taking advice from about the health of your spine and nervous system is your chiropractor. Yes. Come ask me about the medication that you're on or some crazy disease process or a brain tumor. I don't know. You should probably go ask your neurosurgeon now. You should ask your doctor about that medication and the side effects and what's in it and what it does. I know it's probably not good for you, but that's it. But when it comes to the spine and nervous system, that's where we're experts. That's where we know more than anyone else, and that's where you should be getting your advice to get the best, most researched and studied advice. Because it's what we do every single day, right? Hundreds and hundreds of people. I've done hundreds of thousands of adjustments in my time. Your doctor has done zero, right? So they don't know anything about this. And not as bad, it's just not their lane. So when you get adjusted, here's what happens. Here's some of the really cool things. You may have heard about vagal tone, your vagus nerve, your sympathetic, parasympathetic nervous system. They're doing a lot more work on this right now. They're realizing, hey, most people are pretty stressed and they have this sympathetic dominance. So how do we stimulate the vagus nerve and reduce this vagal tone in the body? And there's all kinds of hacks and ways to be able to do that. We're going to share some of those today because some of those actually really do work. There's some weird ones where they're hooking up electrodes and stimulating you and doing who knows what, shock therapy, even putting things in your body to continually stimulate these nerves. Well, when you get a chiropractic adjustment, it actually changes your neurology immediately. They've researched this, where it activates certain parts of your brain and it modifies the stress response, whether it's sympathetic or parasympathetic. Even with just a single adjustment, it's reducing that vagal tone. Super cool. It also affects your stress resilience. So if you remember when you came in, we had you do these little tests, put your hand in there, it measures your heart rate variability. There's wearables now like the Oura Ring or the Whoop or watches, your Apple Watch. It can measure your heart rate variability. This is one of the most important determinants in longevity because it's actually measuring your adaptability to stress. The greater resilience and adaptability to stress you have, the greater your body can adapt to what's going on around you and keep your body healthy. As that stress resilience goes down, your heart rate variability goes down. So this is something that we actually measure. And one of the things that I've seen with patients over time is they start getting adjusted. They're like, my heart rate variability has been going up. It's like, that's normal because your nervous system is getting healthier. This means you adapt better to stress, you have more energy, you sleep better, your resiliency starts to improve. You may have experienced some of these things with your care here in the office or as you've made healthier choices in your life. And you look at that stress resilience, and this is so, so key because we all come up against stress. And you've had those times where you've had stressful events and you are totally fine. But you've probably had times where you were stressed and maybe you got sick or an old injury came up or an old problem came up, right? Or certain parts of your body started to get aggravated. The allergies were kicking up more. Your sleep went downhill. Your recovery from exercise wasn't as good. That's because your resilience was compromised. When you get adjusted, it actually lowers the stress response and lowers the cortisol and increases healthy hormones like adrenaline or norepinephrine to be released in your body. Serotonin, dopamine, right? These things can be released when you get adjusted. It removes that interference and it helps reduce inflammation, not just at the joint level, but systemically because it's relaxing that nervous system. Pretty cool, right? It's like, makes me want to get adjusted, right? These are the things that excited me about chiropractic and why I chose to become a chiropractor because I learned about, well, what's actually happening as we did this. So there's a big difference between pain relief care, like you would get at the joint or, you walk in and they just say, where does it hurt? And you crack it and you leave. That works for pain relief sometimes, but it's not changing your nervous system. None of the stuff we're talking about here today is going to change from that long term. That doesn't happen in 1 or 2 visits. That doesn't happen in 6 to 12 visits a year that's on your insurance plan. It happens with consistency over time. And now I've been getting adjusted for, 16 years, 18 years, something like that. And there's a reason why my heart rate variability is good and I don't get sick very often and these other things. it's not just good luck. It's consistency over time. I still get adjusted once a week, and I have for many, many years, and I plan on doing it for the rest of my life, right? Not just when my back hurts, but because I want my nervous system to be healthy. And that's what functional corrective care, right? That is a lifetime care, taking care of your spine and nervous system to make sure there's no interference, that everything's working optimally. And again, here's why. Because you only feel 10%. That's it. 10%. So if you just focus on, I go get adjusted when my neck hurts or my back hurts, you're missing 90% of the benefits of chiropractic. That's why you're on a care plan. Some people say, I don't want to be on a care plan. I don't like care plans. What in your life works well that doesn't have a consistent plan? Yeah, if you want to exercise and get more fit, do you just go sporadically when you feel like it? Like, I think I'm going to exercise today, right? Can you have healthy nutrition and healthy weight and strong metabolism if you just eat when you feel like it? No, you don't. Are you going to have a good marriage if you just like sometimes care about your spouse and show up for them? Or you show up as a parent every once in a while when it's convenient for you? No, you have hopefully a plan, right? There's care, there's regularity, there's a consistency, there's a routine. Chiropractic is no different than that. So you have a plan for everything else in your life that you want to be successful. Why would you not have a plan for your chiropractic care? In fact, why would you not demand that there's a plan for you? People come here because they want to see change in their life. And to have change, you got to have consistency. That's why we recommend a care plan. And that care plan isn't just based off nothing. It's based upon the functional findings of your spine and your nervous system and the stress in your life. So what's recommended to you is based upon what's needed for you, based upon research, experience, and everything else. Not just like, well, this seems to make sense. Let's just do this. That's why there's a plan. And long-term health is more than just pain relief. So when you understand these things and you create healthy habits around it, like doing home care, right? That's why we give you home care, because your spine is under stress every day, from posture to sitting to devices to old injuries and degenerative change and arthritis, everything else. Wouldn't it make sense to take care of your spine and give more nutrition to your brain and work on your posture and make things easier? Yeah. Why do you brush your teeth? Does everybody love brushing their teeth? No. You do it because you know what's good for your dental health. Why do you change the filters in your car? Why do you get an oil change? Nobody loves getting an oil change, right? Like, I can't wait. My oil change is due. Yes. No, you do it because you don't want your engine to blow up. You don't want your car to go down. You want it to last. Routine maintenance makes sense in other parts of your life. Why would you not have routine maintenance of your spine? It just makes sense, right? That's why we ask you, how's your home care going? Just like your dentist. Have you been brushing or flossing your teeth? No, not really. Well, you got 3 cavities. Like, that's why. Or you got dental disease, or we got to pull a tooth, right? That's no fun. Nobody likes that. But you can't do that of your spine. We're not just going to take a segment out because it's broken down. It doesn't work that way. When it's unhealthy, it takes a lot of time to build back up. That's why everyone who wants to be healthy should be seeing a chiropractor regularly. The minimum is like every other week. That's what the research shows. Subluxation more than 2 weeks causes degenerative change. Within 6 weeks, it's already affecting your nervous system. So how many 2 weeks or 6 weeks is okay with you? For your kids, for your spouse, for your family. That's why getting checked regularly is so vital. And they've studied this too. This is so cool. I share this all the time because it's the best study I've ever seen with long-term health. 7-year study. How many studies go that long? It's like 2 weeks. And then that's it. And they put it out and the drug's approved. 7 years they studied this. Hundreds of patients. This is what they found. The chiropractic care patients. This is when you went to the chiropractor regularly as your primary care doctor, which we are primary care doctors. We're not going to prescribe drugs. We're not going to diagnose disease, but we are primary care doctors. 60% less hospitalizations. Pretty awesome, right? Who loves going to the hospital? Nobody. Who wants to go to the ER? Nobody. When you're there, what's the first thing you want to do? When do I get out of here? I can't wait to leave, right? 59% less days in the hospital when they're there. So you get there, it's minimal, you leave quicker. 62% less outpatient surgeries and 85% less pharmaceutical costs. Less drugs, less shots, less surgeries, because your body's healthier. Your body's healthier. And when they talked about it too, and you read the study, you look at it, their overall quality of life, they felt like was better. Pretty cool. That's why I love what we do. So if you think about that, If you're here right now and you're not a patient in the office, this is your first step to longevity, getting your spine and nervous system checked. Get to the root cause and find natural drug-free solutions. Because if your nervous system's not working, all the other stuff we're talking about today is going to have minimal benefit. Minimal. Because if your body can't do what it's designed to do, there's interference constantly dragging the system down. It's impossible for your body to heal to its full potential. That's why this is so vital. So when you come in, we actually go through these things. We talk about your health history. We talk about the stresses going on. We measure your heart rate variability. We measure your nervous system. We take x-rays. We look at the segments of your spine to really understand what's going on, right? Normally, that's $199 in our office, which is actually very inexpensive. And then we sit down and we talk about what does that plan look like for you based upon your goals and your health and all of our findings we do in our initial evaluations. That's your health plan. And then us as your guide hold you accountable to what that plan is so you get the benefits that you want. So for today only, for those of you that are guests here today that are not a current patient, that haven't been here before, this is your opportunity to take the first step in your longevity journey by signing up for your chiropractic appointment to do your evaluation and find out exactly what's going on. So we can actually analyze and measure that nervous system, see how your body's adapting to stress, and really start working on those real natural solutions. We do that at a discount today only. That's just $40. We do that so you stop procrastinating on it and you take action. That's also why we recommend that you come in this week to be able to do it, because if you put it off till next week, what's going to happen? Yep, you're not going to do it, right? Next month, I'm busy. I got stuff going on. Let me think about it. Where's all that going to lead you? Right where you are right now. Nothing's going to change. If you don't commit to doing something different, you're not going to see any change. So make sure you're doing that, getting that taken care of. We'll have another opportunity before we wrap up today, but this is so vital. As we're going through this, know if you're not currently a patient, make sure that you're getting signed up because this is so vital to that longevity journey. So number two essential, nutrition. This is important. Food is either an asset or a liability. For most people in the standard American diet, it's a liability, right? What are we eating? We're eating ultra-processed foods. We're eating genetically modified foods. We're eating pesticide, herbicide-laden foods. We're eating artificial foods. We're eating all kinds of junk, processed foods. What's in all that stuff? Toxins, oils, chemicals, junk. If you're constantly putting junk in your body, can you expect great results? No, I mean, that's so logical, right? And people know that. It's not like you're mysteriously thinking, I'm going to go to McDonald's and get a Big Mac and this is super nutrient dense and building me up. You know it's not good for you. You know that bag of Doritos isn't good for you. You know that extra slice of cake isn't good for you. You know it's not good for you. You know the donut at Starbucks isn't good for you, but you get it anyway. Because you know what? Today, that's probably not going to kill you. And our minds work like that. They work in the short term. Like, hey, this extra thing today is not going to kill me. I might as well. I deserve it. So then you go through, but what about tomorrow? You do the same thing. And then next week you do the same thing. And a majority of the time, this is most people's lifestyle. Would you agree? Yes. Unless you have a specific plan, and it's this standard American diet that is killing us and accelerating aging. I was just in Europe recently for a trip with my wife, and you look around and people do stuff differently. There's not as many overweight people. There's not as many sick people. You go out to eat. You know, there's a McDonald's here or there. There's a Subway, but it's not like everywhere. They're there probably for the Americans, honestly, because that's the only people that actually go in there. There's no like actual locals that go there. You go to the local spot and it's totally different. It's more natural. The portions are smaller. It's not ultra processed in there. It's like fresh. I went there to a little cafe. He's like, oh, I'm going to go to the baker and get some bread. I'm going to go over here and we're going to get some of the dairy stuff. I'm going to go over here and grab this. And it was like the little local restaurant. He was just grabbing at all the local spots. I'm like, that's so cool. That's so cool that they're doing that, right? Where all of our stuff came from Guatemala and it got shipped over here and it was, picked a month ago and now we're just getting it. Total different when you look at what's going on. And what is the standard American diet full of? It's full of sugar. It's full of damaged fats, seed oils, toxins, artificial foods. So you want to accelerate your aging? Raise your blood sugar. Raise your blood sugar. That accelerates aging rapidly. One of the determinants that you can measure, right? That's why diabetes is a risk factor for every major chronic disease because high blood sugar accelerates your aging rapidly. So if you're constantly eating a processed sugar-laden food, your blood sugar's going up, your insulin's going up, what's happening to your aging? Whoosh, accelerated aging, 100% of the time. What about all those damaged fats? They cause oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is damaging your cells. So what's going to happen to damaged cells? They turn over quicker. Seed oils do this. All the toxins do this. This is our standard American diet. So if you're still eating out of a box or out of a bag or through a window and you want to be healthier, it's time to modify how you live your life. So when we look at the bad fats, all the oils, hydrogenated oil, cottonseed oil, soybean oil, vegetable oil, these are marketed to us as the healthy oils. Isn't that crazy? Get your non-fat oils. Get your corn oil. Get your canola oil. It's so healthy for you. It's the exact opposite. It's so sick and damaging for you. It's the worst thing you could possibly put into your body. And it's in every processed food. This side, what about these things? Olive oil, avocado, coconut, nuts, seeds, healthy things, right? This is where the nutrients are there. This creates healthy cells. This improves your cell membrane. These have antioxidants that protect your cells from damage. It lengthens those telomeres because now you're giving your body nutrients it needs to function optimally. Liability, asset. Think about that when you eat, right? Eating is a decision every single day. Is this fueling my body or is this taking away from my body? Ask yourself that question. You can answer that honestly. And when you do that, you still may make whatever decision. Is my diet perfect all the time? No. It's a majority of the time, it's really good. And that's what matters most. It's not about being perfect. Nobody's perfect and then beating yourself up for a week because you had that one milkshake. Like whatever, you had the one milkshake. A healthy body adapts fine to that. But when it's the opposite, where it's like every once in a while you do something healthy and the majority of the time it's not good, that's when you have problems. So here's the most toxic foods you want to avoid like the plague. Fried foods. Because what do they fry them in? Oils. All the gross oils. Yes, exactly. No fried foods. Unless you do it yourself and you do it in like coconut oil. Packaged foods. What's in all the packaged foods? All the junk. All the artificial. If it could sit on your shelf for like 3 years and still be the same, is that good for you? No way. What is healthy food? You leave it out for a week, it's gone. It's dead, right? Because it's healthy, it's alive. Dead food sits on the shelf for 2 years, right? You don't want to eat dead food. What about GMO, genetically modified foods? Does anybody think that's a good idea? No, I think we all pretty much know now, yep, that was a facade, that was a lie, it's not actually good for you, it was a big marketing ploy. That's what it is. It's glyphosate. Glyphosate is one of the most dangerous, damaging, toxic chemicals there is out there, and it's sprayed on a lot of our food. That's what GMO is. It's extra super glyphosate because the plants are more resistant to it. So it's like at home, you know, you get Roundup that you kill weeds with. Would you drink that? No. That's what they put on your food. And it says right there, do not drink, don't consume. If it gets on your hands, wash your hands. Like, that's what it says on the Roundup bottle. But they spray it on your food and it's totally fine. That's glyphosate. Artificial colors, right, is certain stuff supposed to be orange or pink or red or yellow. Nope, not at all. Artificial sweeteners, we know those are neurotoxins now. Those aren't good. So all the stuff that was marketed to us as this is the healthier option or this is good for the planet, actually horrible for you. Let's look at some of those artificial foods. 10,000 approved chemicals, 10,000. This is another thing you don't see in other countries. You don't see all this crap, right? There's like sodas, there's maybe like Fanta, but that's it. Most of it's different kinds of water, different kinds of sparkling drinks. You don't see 1,000 different colored drinks. There's not a whole aisle dedicated to candy and junk food and crap, right? That's like the side aisle that nobody goes to. It's like the exact opposite of our store, right? You go to our store and it's like 80% junk and then 20% some good stuff, like mixed in and around the outsides, right? Where that's the exact opposite when you go to most places, or you go to like a Whole Foods or like a healthy store, it's all good stuff and like some crap kind of shoved in the corner, right? That's the stuff that you want to avoid. All this nonsense here, all this is clogging your cells and creating damage. So Gatorade, no, is not great for you. It doesn't hydrate you. It doesn't give you more energy. It takes energy away. It robs it away from you. You want electrolytes, use Element or something like that, where it actually has all the good, but none of the bad, right? Those are all white. They don't come out as orange or pink or blue, right? That's the key. Watermelon is still white because salt is white. When you look at it, cheese is white, right? So when you look at the store, here's some just simple things to follow. Buy organic food wherever possible, especially if they're spraying the outside. Lettuce and apple, berries. You want to get organic as much as possible. You want to choose healthy meats. Meats that weren't given antibiotics, that weren't farm raised in an unhealthy environment, that weren't given a bunch of injections, that weren't fed all the toxic food that you avoid. So again, organic, grass-fed, wild-caught, free-range. Think about what was that animal's healthy environment, and if they lived in that, they're probably going to be a lot better for you. Get rid of the processed foods. Get used to reading the ingredients list and the labels. Don't just look at how many calories or how much sugar, like what's actually in it matters most. And if it's not whole foods, healthy nutrients, you know it's a no-go if you want it to be on the healthier side of what you get. So in your list here, I gave you a nice long list of ingredients. So things to avoid, food and beverages, non-food items. So this is going to be all of your cleaning products, all your personal care products, right? Take this and start looking at your stuff. Oh, I noticed this has aluminum in it. Maybe I shouldn't use that. Or this has sodium lauryl sulfate in it. Or oh, this has 3 different kinds of hydrogenated oils. Well, that's not really good for me. And then you can start cleaning out your life. And when it comes to your nutrition, you want to have a plan. Right? To be successful, you want to have a plan. So we created 2 easy to follow plans with Max Living. The core plan, which is eating lots of healthy fats, avoiding all the damaged processed fats like we just talked about, all the hydrogenated oils, canola oils, all that. Get more naturally raised foods. Makes sense, right? The way humans ate since the beginning of time, how would they grow grain? How would they raise animals? How would they prepare their food? There's a reason why we survived all this period of time. Over the history, people weren't dying of cancer and heart disease and Alzheimer's and diabetes. You know, they died of maybe starvation, or they got sick, or they broke their leg, or, you know, they died in war. Like, that's how most people died. Like, there wasn't people like sitting there just degenerating in the tent. Like, that didn't happen. Because they lived mostly pretty healthy. There was no processed food. There was no GMO there. They only knew one way to raise the cow. And that was it, and that's what they ate, and that's how they lived. And so a lot of those things have been lost in our modern society. How to prepare foods, how to raise foods. A lot of that is just gone now, unfortunately. We need to bring some of that stuff back. A variety of fruits and vegetables that should change throughout the year. You're not supposed to eat strawberries for 12 months out of the year. You're supposed to eat them at a certain time of the year when they grow near you. That's how it's supposed to happen. There's foods through the seasons that are locally grown. We live in California. We're like the food mecca of the whole country. Everything you need is right here. You can easily get it all, but you got to know to get the right things and know that certain things are seasonal. And when you eat with the seasons and you focus on healthy habits, that's your plan. How much you eat, when you eat, all that stuff isn't as important if you're getting the right stuff in. Now, there's ways to modify that, of course, and we can talk about that too. But most importantly, getting the good stuff in is really the key, and eliminating as much of the bad stuff as possible. Now, there are more advanced plans. We call it the advanced plan. We also do nutrition coaching for weight loss and gut health and other things along the lines where this gets modified a bit more. The advanced plan is usually when you have any kind of blood sugar issues, inflammatory issues, and your body needs time to heal. So we need to get all that stuff out, or even some of the good sources. So we're limiting all sorts of sugars, grains, carbs, because that is a form of stress that maybe your body can't handle because it's so damaged, because it's been doing the unhealthy things for so long and it needs time to heal. You got to take some of the stress off there. So you eliminate the grains, you get rid of all damaged fats, and you really focus on proteins and high fats only. Really nutrient dense. This is such an amazing healing diet, helps with so many things, and really helping your body heal itself. Now, another way to use nutrition to accelerate your longevity is through fasting. Fasting's been done again since the beginning of time. A lot of people did it unintentionally, just because that's how it was, right? There's no gazelle around, so we're not eating much. for the next week or so. So it kind of just is what it is. But fasting is actually really good for you. I think either genetically we're designed that way or we accumulated it over time based upon hundreds of thousands of years of just human existence. That fasting actually helps with the aging process because it's a healthy stress that causes what's called autophagy. There's a lot of benefits, but the main one we're focusing on when it comes to longevity is autophagy, which is cellular die-off. So a lot of times your cells are kept alive because of sugars and all these things that are constantly there, right? We're over-nutriented. There's not that many people who are starving. There are, and we're not gonna talk about that. But for the most part, a majority of people, we're not hurting for food. It's pretty easy to get. You're hungry, go to the cupboard. Go to the store, it's immediately available. It's not like, well, it's not season and the crops are dead. There's nothing we can do. It's always available, which is a problem. Because our brains, our bodies adapted over the years to like, food is scarce. So when food is here, we gotta go for it. So your entire physiology is based upon that still today, which is why you love sugar and high fat foods and all these things because your body's like, we don't know when we're gonna be able to eat again. This stuff is amazing. I'm gonna take in as much as possible. But now it's working against us. And all these processed foods are actually designed to tap into that. They tap into that innate desire for that food, for that more, and that's how you get overweight, unhealthy, all these other types of problems that come in. And for your cells to die off and age healthy, because we want the bad cells to die so the good cells can thrive, you need some time where they're not getting any sugar or any nutrients. That's basically what fasting is. So you can go through different types of fasting. We've talked about these before. This is the most simple. Everybody can do this very, very easily, right? Even if you eat dinner at like 7 o'clock and you wait till breakfast to eat at 7 o'clock, that's pretty easy, right? 12 hours, majority of that you should be sleeping. So don't night eat, of course. Don't wake up and binge to the fridge. Some people struggle with that, with the night eating thing. This one is very, very easy. Now at about the 14 to 16 hours is where the initial benefits of the autophagy start to kick in. So this is kind of like a warm up. Here would be a lot better if you're looking for that longevity, doing this a few days a week, because now you're giving your body enough time to go through the full digestive process and really to allow to the point where you start burning some fat for energy versus just sugar. When you start to get to like the multiple days, like especially these multi-days here, you're getting massive autophagy. Amazing for you. But not everybody's quite ready to, don't go home and do like a 3-day water fast. It's a little rough. And if you're not ready for it, you could have some issues. But over time, you should do this. I like to do this a couple of times a year, just for kind of like a reset. It's actually not that hard once you get through it. I really like the second day is the worst. First day is not too bad. Third day is actually you kind of gain this energy and momentum because your body goes to survival mode. It's like, well, got to do what I got to do to hunt for food. And everything accelerates. Your vision gets better, your sensory and taste, and nothing's better than like your first meal back. After this, hunger is like the best sauce. It's so good. But don't like go crazy because your body will freak out. Yeah, don't go like mow a whole pizza here. You will not feel good because your stomach went whoop. It got way smaller and your body's not ready to do it. And you're not going to feel good. So if you've ever done that before and you felt horrible afterwards, that's why. It's because your body was not ready for that. You want to kind of work it right back in. But fasting is a great aging hack that everyone can use that doesn't cost you anything and is really, really simple to do. Another key aspect is your gut microbiome. Your gut microbiome is huge. You have trillions of these little bacteria that make up this microbiome, and you have multiple species. So another determinants of healthy aging is a diverse microbiome. Right, so it's not just taking one type of probiotic. People say, oh, I take probiotics, I'm good. No, you're not. That probably has like 1 or 2 or maybe like 3 or 4 strains. There's hundreds of strains of bacteria that your body needs. It doesn't come from just a supplement alone. It comes from nutrition, it comes from biodiversity, it comes from not using things like antibiotics and antibacterial soap and bleach on every single thing, right? You need to have alcohol damages your gut. There's so many things that damage the gut, but we also don't get a lot of the diversity that we need. I'm not saying you should like go eat dirt and never wash your hands or anything like that, but to a degree, I think we need a little bit more diversity. You shouldn't fully wash your skin every single day. You shouldn't use all these like germ fears because all that is actually weakening your immune system. It's weakening your immune system because without a good gut microbiome diversity, you're actually going to cause stress. You're going to cause leaky gut issues. You're going to weaken your immune system. So when we look at the diverse microbiome, this equals longer life. So again, if you look at human history, they would eat things like bone broth and fermented foods and all these other things, cured meats, because that's what they knew kept food longer, because the bacteria kept the food. It's like a natural preservative. Well, that also does the same thing in your gut microbiome. It's what actually breaks down the food and helps with the absorption. If you have a weak gut microbiome, this is how people get bloating and gas and irritable bowel problems, is because they're not effectively breaking the food down. So they have undigested food that's trying to be processed, which creates irritation and inflammation. Exactly. That's why most bowel problems are inflammatory issues. And so if your whole insides is on fire, is that a good thing? No, not a good thing. And does that create other problems? Yes, it does. And it goes around to different parts of your life. So when we look at our modern diet, kills diversity. Glyphosate kills your digestive system, rips holes in your digestive system to where you get leaky gut problems. No good, right? What is all of our stuff? What have we been told, especially over the last few years during COVID and whatnot? Make sure that you use your antibacterial soap. Make sure that you take this. Make sure you take that. Make sure you spray everything. And when you have the stuff on the wall, the whatever it is, the white gel that just like rinse your hands off, you're killing your gut microbiome. That's so bad for you. You don't want that at all. Unless you're like have a really bad bacterial infection that's harming you, you don't want to use antibiotics so easily. They're so randomly prescribed, like, oh, just take antibiotics. It kills your gut diversity. One round of antibiotics can kill your gut microbiome for 2 years. 2 years. People will be like, oh, I took 1 round of probiotics. That did nothing. Right? So you think about if you sprayed your entire grass with weed killer and it died, would you just do 1 round of fertilizer and water it and next week it's back? No, your lawn's going to be dead for a long time. Maybe permanently it's going to be dead. Right? That spot still hasn't grown back. Well, that's the same thing that's happening to your gut. That's the easiest analogy to understand what's going on when you're doing that. That's pretty crazy, right? Healthy gut creates longevity. Take care of your gut. So vital. So when it comes to supplementation, I don't recommend a ton of supplements, but there are some key ones. Now, the one I want to talk about today, we've talked about this a few times. I'm so excited about this. I've been taking this for months. I feel amazing. I love it. It's like the primary thing that I take. I took it with me on my trip. It was one of the only things I took with me in the daily essentials. I was like, this has come with me everywhere. This is the most advanced that I've found so far stack for longevity. And we're going to go through exactly why that is. And based upon everything we talked about right now, you're going to understand why. How vital is the gut to our health? Super important. How vital is it that we can process and eliminate toxins regularly? Vital. We haven't gotten to that part yet, but it's absolutely important. So when you look at the digest and detox, it's naturally through healthy products, natural, diverse, none of this is processed, it's all organic, non-GMO, bioavailable. They have 7 separate certifications on these things through PurePath that are not required. Most supplements have 0, absolutely 0. So you'll go to the store and just pick up whatever. Most likely that's not working for you. So digestive issues, exposure to glyphosate, mold, plastics, skin condition, weight issues, malabsorption problems, all will benefit from the digest and detox. The next one is inflammation. We talked about inflammation. Silent inflammation is killing you. How great would it be to systemically be lowering inflammation on a regular basis? How about your immune system? You think that's pretty important? Yeah, fighting off infection and disease. So we're strengthening your immune system naturally and reducing inflammation for less joint pain, stronger immune system, getting your body back to where it needs to be. Right? These are nutrition that you're taking into your body. I take this every day. It helps big time. I've been sick this entire year. This is not the only reason why, but it really helps keep you going. Cellular health. How important are your cells to your longevity? Super important, right? It's even called longevity because it's reducing oxidative stress. It's reducing oxidative stress. It's improving antioxidants, which protect your cell from damage, and it's feeding the cell for its life cycle. So you're dealing with adrenal fatigue, brain fog, burnout, slow metabolism, hormonal imbalances, cellular health and longevity. So when you put all these things together, this is the coolest part. This is in your packet too. When I saw this, this was like the biggest thing for me. I was like, oh my gosh. Who here has like 30 things in their cabinet that they take? I just cleaned out my cabinet. I had so many things. Like, oh, I haven't used this in like 2 years. All supplements, all vitamins, all things that I just picked up that I didn't even know what it was for. Now, when you look at this here, between these 3 supplements, you are replacing 20 different things. 20 individual bottles in your cabinet in 3 supplements. That's really the amazing part. Between these cellular health and longevity, inflammation, immune support, digestion, and detox. I was like, man, that is awesome. So that's why the foundational 3 should be taken together, because we need all of those things. We need less inflammation, stronger immune system, healthier digestion, less toxins, healthier cells, better longevity. If you really want the full benefits of the longevity, you want to be doing all 3. And again, if we just did this for 1 month, is that going to have a benefit? Yes. Yes. Is it going to benefit you 6 or 12 months from now? Yes. Not as much. Because you don't just do it for one short period of time. Are you going to be exposed to toxins next month? Yeah. Are you going to have stresses that create inflammation? Are you going to come up against issues that challenge your cells? Of course. So these are things you want to have on a regular basis. That's where they really work the best, is when you're doing it consistently. And sometimes you don't notice until you stop doing it. I've had that too. You're doing something like, well, is this really benefiting me? I don't really know. Maybe I'll give it a couple of months off, and then you get sick. Or like your knee starts hurting. Or like, oh, maybe that was really helping. I should get back to that, right? That's the key. We don't want you taking 50 different things. Like, oh, I saw here I should be taking vitamin D, and I saw I should be taking CoQ10, and I heard that NAD was good for me. And like, there's all these other things, and like, they probably are, but does that necessarily affect you? Who knows? Where did it come from? How was it produced? What's the quality? All that stuff, you don't know. You just order on Amazon because it was cheap. You pick it up at Costco because they were pouring it as a sample, and you heard it was good for you there. Get what works. That's the key. We study these things. I know the manufacturer. I've met them. Like, I know where the farm is. They even actually have us go out to the farm where we could see where they grow it and the process they use and the sustainable farming they use. Like, can you say that about most of your supplements that you picked up at GNC or Safeway or Vitamin Shop? Not that all that stuff is bad. There's probably other good stuff too that maybe I don't know about. But we know this stuff is good, right? That's the key. That's why I take. That's what I give to my kids. That's what I recommend to my families. That's the only thing I would recommend to you. So number 3 is mindset. This is key too, because life is stressful. We talked about that, right? And this is one of the coolest things I looked at, because a lot of times this kind of gets put aside a little bit. I feel like this is like well, I know that's one of the essentials, but do I really got to pay attention to that one essential? Like, I know I got to eat and exercise and I should get adjusted and toxins are bad, but really, do I really got to how do I really focus on this one right here? And this is a cool study they did at Harvard of adult development, a long-running study where they found that people's longevity and their overall health was more predicted, not by diet, exercise, or income, but by social connections and how much stress you were under. I'm like, oh man. So you think about, again, when we had COVID and we took all the elderly people or the sick people and we isolated them, like, how good was that for you? Horrible, right? Or you end up on your own, or when you're stressed, you want to just disengage or you get put out. Like, that's the exact opposite. It's those connections that are so vital, and having healthy relationships and having good remedies to deal with stress. Because if you don't address or deal with stress, it builds up. Old emotional things, loss that you've had in your life, all these things, if you don't deal with it, it builds up and festers in your body and creates disease. It literally creates disease if you don't deal with your emotions and stresses. This is so, so vital. And according to here, maybe one of the most important things you could do. So let's look at that. When you're stressed, you increase cortisol. We already talked about that. Extra cortisol causes inflammation. weakens your immune system, turns your body off, turns your digestion off, turns your healing off, turns your reproductive function off, turns off everything when you're under this stress and these hormones get released, right? They know that all this shortens your telomeres and it increases your risk of aging. And you see that. People who are more stressed, they lose their hair faster, they look older, they feel older, things are just not good, right? How do you feel when you're super stressed? You feel great? No, you feel horrible. And that's what's physiologically going on in your body at the cellular level. That's why it's so vital to deal with this. So we want to rewire your stress response, right? Rewire what you have been created innately. Some of us have a stress response that's just innately there and triggered unconsciously because that's been your pattern for so long. This can be rewired through consistency. So one of the things we talked about was heart rate variability, a big predictor of resilience and longevity. This can be measured. So you can get a wearable, which are not that expensive, that you can use on a regular basis that feeds back information to you about how you're dealing with stress. Simple. So we have technology, utilize it to your benefit. Measure your heart rate variability because the higher that gets, the better your adaptability gets. Now I've done tests with this where you're doing it at the same time where we measured before and after heart rate variability doing these things. Breath work. Has anybody ever done like legit hour, 2 hour long breath work session? Anybody? One or two people, couple people. It's like a life-changing experience. If you've never done it before, you will see and feel and go through things that maybe you never thought was possible just with your own breath. It's absolutely amazing. It needs to be guided. Someone walks you through it. It's pretty intense. Make sure you're going into it and prepared. But I recommend that if you have some emotional issues, you have some built up stuff, you have some stress problems, and you want to deal with it naturally, go do an intense breathwork session or a few of them. It is life-altering. People are crying, screaming, breakthroughs, seeing stuff. Like, it's nuts. It really is. But it's transformative, man. It like really is. I've done this a few times now, and it's like, wow, that was not what I was expecting. And they'll tell you that up front, and you're like, nah, I'm fine. But then like halfway through, you start hallucinating, and your hands and face go numb, and you're like, what's going on? And naturally, this is all natural stuff. It really is. It's your breath. It's your oxygen. It's really, really, really cool. So I encourage you to try it out. Give it a shot. Meditation, right? So some people maybe have tried meditation. Little less intense, little easier. Again, there's like real simple 5-minute whoop-de-tip meditation, which is good. But then there's like, have you ever gone into a deep, like multi-hour meditation to where it's like you are in a trance? You actually change the waves of your nervous system, similar to sleep or recovery. Meditation can mimic the deep recovery function of sleep when you're doing it right. They can measure this in the brain. I've done this through heart rate variability where you see it and it's a little bit stressed and then all of a sudden it goes up. It starts to level out. It's very, very cool. You can see it happen on the spot. Also, gratitude journaling. Gratitude takes you out of scarcity and fear and into abundance and into joy, right? Just for the idea of thinking about like, you know, my life is pretty good. Like I have food and I have a house over my head and like I'm still alive. Like this is pretty awesome. My life's pretty great, right? It could be a lot worse. And starting to realize that your life's pretty great and you should appreciate that more often. Having a gratitude practice is huge. And then chiropractic adjustments. We've actually done chiropractic adjustments before and after that has an immediate change to the heart rate variability because it's literally changing your nervous system on the spot. Pretty cool, right? So think about these things. Higher heart rate variability lowers your risk for chronic disease. You could do this as simple as rhythmic breathing, box breathing, 4-7-8 breathing, slow breaths in, hold, slow breaths out. This actually stimulates your parasympathetic nervous system. And if you do it consistently, will improve your stress resilience. Just with your own breath. Doesn't cost you a thing. You can start doing this immediately today. Another one that doesn't cost you anything, sleep. Sleep is free. Sleep is so huge. Another risk of accelerated aging is not sleeping. You want to age your body quick? Don't sleep good. It's guaranteed, 100%. Your cells repair and regenerate when you sleep. Your brain detoxes when you sleep. Your body recovers when you sleep. If you're not sleeping, your body's stressed. Simple as that. Right? There's no hack. You can't be like, I'm the master that gets 5 hours of sleep and I'm fine. You're not fine. They've researched this. There's like 1 to 2% of the population that can actually function consistently, healthy, with less than 6 hours. So odds are, probably not you. Maybe it is, but likely not. So don't trick yourself. You really need closer to like 7, 8 hours, but if you sleep less than 6 or more than 9, unless you have a specific reason why you need to sleep that much. If you sleep too much, it's the same as not sleeping enough because your body reverts back into that negative cycle. So you don't want to get like 12 hours of sleep. That's not great for you either, or 10 hours of sleep. That's why people who are depressed or have mental struggles, they sleep a lot and they think like, oh, this is helping. It's not. It's making it worse. It's creating more problems. You don't want to oversleep. You want to get that window. And again, that's why a wearable is really good. I found that if I sleep at least 7 hours, I'm going to get a little crown on there. I'll get an 85 plus if I sleep at least 7 hours. If I sleep less than 7 hours, it's always a little bit less. If I can get to 8 hours, maybe I get like a 94 or 95, like a really good super crown. But I'm fine with 7, right? And I know that. It's like, okay, I got to sleep at least 7. Sometimes I'll wake up and I'll check and like, nope, not good enough. And I'll go back to sleep. And I'll wake up in like 45 minutes and it's like, it goes back up. You actually will see it, guys. Boop, go back into sleep. Boop, come right back out. It's like, oh, now I'm at 88. Perfect. I can get up now.
Can't go to work. I don't have my crown yet. I'll be in soon.
That's right. Well, I get up way earlier than that. But think about that. Like your sleep is so huge. And they found that if you're not sleeping enough, you're going to age more. You're going to get sick more often. You're not going to recover as well. Your risk for all chronic disease goes up. So very simple. There's no hack to sleep. You really just got to sleep and make it a priority. Number 4 is exercise. Exercise is important. Right? If you look at the blue zones around the world, a lot of things we talk about, they have really good interpersonal relationships. They hang out. They got great community. They're having fun. Usually they live in places that are more hilly. So they walk a lot. They're very active. They're moving consistently. Essential 4 is not just about killing it at the gym for 30 minutes and then sitting on your butt the rest of the day. It's about creating a lifestyle around movement, consistently moving. The people that live the longest, they move a lot. They're not the most fit. Like, it's not a bodybuilder that lives to 100. That's not what happens. It's the people who move. Like, you wouldn't even think like, oh, this is like a really fit guy or gal. But they move consistently and they can do stuff. They could bend over and lift something up. They can move things around. They can live their day-to-day life. That's really the big determinant of your long-term longevity. Yeah, exercise is great. And VO2 max is one of the best ways to measure that. That's how much oxygen you can take into your cells. Because it's that oxygen that fuels your muscles and keeps you going. Now, this has to be measured. And you probably don't all have access to like one of those masks and you're running like an elite athlete on there to measure your VO2 max. But I've gone to this as well. And VO2 max gets improved when you challenge yourself. That's like HIIT training, functional training. Right? That's why when you're on there, you're like booking, right? You're not just going for a slow walk and measuring your VO2 max. You're hitting it as hard as you can. So maybe we don't all have the capacity to do that type of workout, but you can challenge yourself beyond what's comfortable, which is really the key. Like, it's easy to stay in that comfort zone. Well, I know if I do this, I'm going to be okay. And that's kind of my regular. Well, what if you went an extra quarter mile longer this time? Or an extra half mile? Or you went the uphill way instead of the downhill way? Or it was just a little bit harder every week or every month, and you challenge yourself a little bit more. I'm going to walk around the block 4 times instead of 3 this time. That's really the key. It's not just the same thing over and over again, because eventually your body gets used to it and it's no longer beneficial for you. It still has a minimum benefit, but it's not going to get any kind of growth. As soon as it becomes easy, you need to start leveling up a little bit, right? Not drastically harder. You don't go from 1 mile to 10, right? You go from 1 mile to 1.25 miles to 1.5 miles to 2 miles to uphill to a hike, right? You slowly progress through it. Daily movement, strength training is your anti-aging medicine. So this is so huge for you because when you exercise, it improves your natural insulin, which lowers your blood sugar. What is sustained high blood sugar? Accelerated aging. So that's why exercise helps, because it uptakes the sugar into your muscles and it increases your energy production and it increases what's called your mitochondria, which is like the cellular powerhouse where it creates all that energy. And so challenging your body helps with this. It also reduces inflammation. Pretty cool, right? You think, well, exercise, sometimes I hurt, like this or that, it will hurt. Well, you may have that because maybe your joints are unhealthy or you haven't worked your body to the right degree where you can adapt well. That's why you hurt. That'll build up over time. But systemically, your inflammation actually goes down with exercise because your body releases endorphins. And these endorphins lower the stress response. So you can actually take yourself out of the stress response through exercise and movement, which is pretty cool. So sometimes when you're in stress, the easiest thing you can do is just go for a walk. Go move your body a little bit. Change your physiology. The last thing you want to do is sit in the same spot, doing the same thing and expect it's going to get better. That's really hard. You got to change something in your physiology. That's why breathing works, movement works, getting out in nature, change of scenery works because you're changing what's going on inside your body. So we got to exercise more often. So when we look at this here, fitter people live longer. New England Journal of Medicine. Pretty simple, right? If your body's physically healthier, you're likely going to live longer. And again, this isn't like bodybuilder type. That's unhealthy. That's so far over on the other side of the scale. You don't got to be like buff or ripped or any of these kinds of things. You just got to be functionally healthy, right? Can you do squats? Can you hang from a bar for 30 or 60 seconds, right? Can you do a plank? Can you go for a mile walk, right? If the answer is to no to a lot of these things, that's something you really need to start working on because it's the muscle mass that maintains the health of your brain. And they actually see with accelerated aging is when you lose muscle mass. What happens to a lot of people when they get older and they stop moving? They lose muscle mass. What goes next? Your brain. And then death.
Okay.
Yes. So you don't want to lose your brain? Keep your body moving. Keep your muscle mass up. That is so vital. And some of that requires some resistance training. So here's a basic formula. Walk 30 minutes a day. We can all pretty much do that, right? And if you can't, we're going to help you work up to that point. Strength train 2 to 3 times a week. Again, this isn't like bench pressing 225 10 times. This could be some light resistance bands, some light weights, some body weight work, but you got to put a stress on your system. Just walking alone is not enough. You got to put some resistance on your system to keep your skeletal system strong, keep your muscle mass up. And avoid prolonged lack of movement. That's the absolute worst. Sitting is the new smoking, right? They talk about that all the time. Nothing worse you can do for your body than sit around all day, right? Sedentary lifestyle, massive accelerated aging. Yeah.
Can you hear what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, I feel that. There are young people though who have the same dilemma. They can't necessarily move. They're very limited in their day-to-day because they have these problems. And there's older people who can do pretty much whatever. There's older people running marathons and doing this or that. Now that should be the norm, right? That should be, although it's not, it should be more normal. And there's a path to get there. Maybe it starts really small. Maybe it's just walk to the end of the block today or start something light. But it's the action step of doing something, right? Versus like, oh, I just can't do anything. You can do something. Even the most limited can do something today and then a little bit more tomorrow and then a little bit more. So it doesn't matter what level you're at. There's a level you could go to that would help you in that realm. Now here's some other things that you can do that is good for longevity. It's heat and cold therapy. So cold therapy, right? A lot of people talk about now cold plunges and things like that. There was a documentary, I think it was on Disney with the guy that plays Thor. It was called Limitless. And he did a bunch of these on longevity. He talked about all the stuff we're talking about today. He did great physical feats. He went in the cold. He addressed some mental issues and accepted like he was going to die and all this stuff. It was very interesting. You should go watch it. But he talked about a lot of these things. And one of his concerns was he had a family history of Alzheimer's and he didn't want his brain to break down. So he got really into all this stuff. And these are some of the things that he found, right? Heat and cold therapy. This has been used for a long time, right? Getting in extreme colds actually stimulates cellular health and regeneration. And same thing with extreme heats. You have both heat and cold shock therapies that happen in your body that regulate normal function. Pretty cool. So cold therapy, you should be getting about, they say on average, about 11 minutes accumulated a week. This could be something as simple as a cold shower. It doesn't got to necessarily be a cold plunge. It could be your cold pool. But getting some cold therapy in, so when you get in the shower, 1 minute of cold or 2 minutes of cold really is good for you. And then heat too. So sauna, especially infrared sauna, a lot of health benefits for detoxing, cellular function, so many great things. Easy like biohacks, you could say, that improve your longevity. The next one is toxicity. We want to minimize toxins. So here's why. Toxic exposure is linked to many different issues: immune system, asthma, diabetes, heart disease, autism, ADHD, birth defects, cancer, mental, neurological issues, autoimmune, Alzheimer's, reproductive problems, hormone balances. There's probably a lot more. We live in a toxic world. Common sources other than food, your pots and pans, especially if you have Teflon, cosmetics, plastic containers for both water and for food, water itself. If you just drink tap water, you're getting all kinds of junk in there. Your shampoo and conditioner have all kinds of toxins, toothpaste, cleaning products. That's why you want to use that sheet I gave you, toxic ingredient list. Look through your personal care products for these things. Super important, because if you're constantly filling up the bucket with toxins, it's hard to get it out of your body. And that's why you want to work on your drainage systems, like the digest and detox, like sauna, like exercising. That's helping your liver, your kidneys, your colon, your skin, your lungs process toxins. Your body's naturally designed to deal with some level of toxins. The problem is most people, they have more toxins than their body can handle, plus these systems don't work. That's a negative recipe for disease and dysfunction. That's why you want to detox your body, minimize toxic stress, and create healthy habits that improve your detox systems. Drink water. Go number 2 every day. Exercise where you're sweating. This is your drainage systems happening, right? Those things are so vital. And to that, water. Another thing you can do to improve your cellular health and slow down aging is stay well hydrated. In fact, dehydration literally shrinks your brain and slows down your mitochondria. Mitochondria is the cellular powerhouse. If you're slowing down your cells, you're aging. Dehydration accelerates cellular aging. Water is essential for detox, energy, and longevity because it's helping with elimination, right? Number 1, number 2 are both affected by hydration. Your cells are made up of water. Your brain and nervous system is made up of water. Your body doesn't work without water. Try going a day or 2 without water. See how you do. Not very good. Probably won't make it. Your body needs water consistently. Hydrate effectively. So when we look at these things, all 5 essentials, core chiropractic and everything that surrounds that, nutrition, mindset, exercise, toxicity. Do you see how if you did these things consistently, it would help you live longer? Yes, makes a lot of sense, right? So here's the key. Make it a habit. When you make health a habit, you are successful. Most people can do things for a short period of time. Oh, I can do this for a month or a week or 6 months because I'm in pain, I have an issue, I see the benefits, whatever. But what do a lot of people struggle with? Consistency long term. It's because it never became a habit. The things you do now consistently, you do it because it's a habit. 95% of our daily life is just replay from yesterday. It's just your habits. It's your habits that get you through. It's the habits that get you through the tough times. It's your habit that gets you the easy times. If you just go based upon feeling or what's convenient or what's easy, and it's not a habit, you will not be successful. You're gonna have short terms where you're doing good, but you're gonna have this up and down. So if you've ever had that up and down and you're tired of it, it's time to create habits. And the way to be successful with habits is have a good, strong why. When you have a why behind the habits, like I want to be there for my grandkids. I want to get back to doing these things that brings me joy. I want to get back to this. I want to get back to that. I want to live a long, healthy life and retire and be able to travel. I just want to get back to living independently again. Well, that's your why behind the habits when you don't feel like it. When you're tired, when it becomes inconvenient, when you're stressed, when you're busy, and you're just like, I'll skip today. Right? And then you skip tomorrow, and then you skip next week, and then it's been 6 months. That's how it goes. It's so simple. It's so simple to do. So habits, move your body, get exercise in at least 150 minutes a week. We have 168 hours in the week. 150 minutes, less than like 0.1% to you to exercise. Get in some resistance training a few days a week. This is why you get adjusted regularly. Stick to your recommended adjustment plan. There's a reason behind that. It makes a difference. Anybody that's been here for a long time, you get it. It's revolutionized my life and so many others. Do your home care. Do it all the time, as often as possible, just like you would brush your teeth. You brush your teeth because it's a habit. You created a habit. You didn't just one day decide, I'm going to brush my teeth and just do it every day, right? It's a habit now. The things you do regularly are habits. Sleep. Sleep is a habit. Do you go to bed at the same time? Do you wake up at the same time, or is it different? Monday I go to bed at this time. The weekend I go to bed at that time. Maybe I get up at that time. Create a consistency of habits. I go to bed by 10. I wake up at 6. Like, whatever. And somewhere around there, maybe that's 10:30, maybe that's 9:45, maybe it's 11, right? But it's not like 10, 2, 7, 3, midnight, 11 p.m., 4 a.m., right? Your body's like, what is going on? That's why the night shift is called the graveyard shift, because it kills you, because it's so bad for your nervous system and for your body. We're supposed to have a sleep cycle, and that needs to be a habit. Meals should be habits. How you eat, what you do. Is you're eating in a specific time. I eat between these times. I eat breakfast around this time. I eat lunch around this time. Or is it like some days I eat dinner at 5. Other days I eat it at 9. Some days I don't eat it at all, right? All those things come into your habits. These things are habits. Eating healthy food is a habit. Eating bad food is a habit, right? Habits can be bad too, right? We have lots of bad habits that are just easy to do. Start making the bad habits hard and the good habits easy. That's what this book talks about. If you want to know all this, read Atomic Habits. Great book. Love that book. I've read it like 3 times. Drinking water is a habit. Don't just drink water when you're thirsty. Have a habit for where you drink water. I drink this much water in the morning. I drink this much water. I bring this thing and I make sure I drink this every day, right? That's a half gallon of water. I make sure I drink that every day. I drink, 16 to 32 ounces in the morning when I wake up every day. So I know like I'm getting my water in every day if I do just this, right? It's easy that way. And when you make it easy, you're going to be consistent. Now here's the key. We want to have an action plan, right? I talked to you about that action plan. So in your packet, we want to take the next few minutes to start working on your action plan, because research shows if you take action on what you learned immediately, your rate of implementing it is 80 to 90% better. Pretty cool. So who wants to get benefits out of their time today? Okay, for those of you that raised your hand, let's start working on this. So we want to work on your start, stop, keep habits. So start means I'm going to start a new habit. Maybe that's I'm going to go for a 30-minute walk every day. I'm going to start going to bed at 9 o'clock, whatever it is. Like, what is your habits that you're going to start? And you don't got to fill this whole thing out. Write down at least one thing. What is one commitment habit you're going to start? Now, another habit is keep. Okay, I'm already doing pretty good with exercise. I hit the gym like 4 or 5 days a week. I'm going to make sure I keep that habit. So I want to make sure I keep this and keep that going. The good things you're already doing, you want to reinforce the benefits of that. And then stop. Okay, what are the things I'm doing that is not serving me that I'm going to stop doing? That could be like, I'm going to stop drinking. That could be, I'm going to stop going to McDonald's on Monday for my Egg McMuffin. I'm going to stop going to Starbucks 5 days a week. I'm going to stop stressing and looking on Facebook at night. Like, whatever it is. What are you going to stop doing that you know is a negative habit that you should let go of, that you're committing to stopping doing now? And your homework will be to fill this out all the way. And then top 3 longevity priorities. So that could be things of, I want to live to a certain age. I want to have a certain amount of function. I want to be at a certain weight. I want to get off like these 3 medications. Whatever it is, what are your top 3 longevity priorities? And this is more long-term. This one might take a little bit of thought. I don't expect you to write this down right now. But think about that. Like, if there was no restriction, most people don't want to get old because they're afraid of what's going to happen. I don't want to be decrepit. I don't want to be in diapers. I don't want to be in the nursing home. I don't want to be in a cane or a walker or whatever. But what if none of that was possible and you removed all that from your life and you said, hey, I want to be like 90 going on hikes. I want to be like 100 with my great-great-grandkids and we're hanging out in the backyard. I want to be able to run a marathon at 80. Like, whatever it is. What are your longevity goals? And this has got to go beyond you, right? That's part of that why of what keeps me there? I want to be just alive until my daughter's wedding, right? Like whatever that might be. This is the key to success, is you want to know what are those habits, and then you want to have not motivation, but like a deep-rooted purpose behind the habits, because that's how you're going to be consistent.